Hey everybody, my name is Robert with RC Archery, and thank you for tuning in to episode 4 of Archery Vision.
For this week's form video, we are focusing on facial pressure, head positioning, and draw length. So you can see this archer has their nose dug pretty hard into the string. They're leaning their head over, and they're bringing their head over to the bow versus bringing the string and the bow to them.
Now when we're looking at a situation like this, we want to make sure that we're keeping our head upright and in a vertical position. So this is maintaining a easily repeatable biomechanical function of our body, and it's not lowering the head down or tilting the head back. Those are both going to be very hard to repeat in an absolute matter every time. So what we want to do is actually use our bows for what they are. They're tools, they have adjustments on them, and there's capabilities of adjusting the bow to fit us versus us adjusting to the bow. Now this is twofold. On this archer, we had his draw length a little bit short, so he's actually lowering that head down to try to get to the string, but then there's also the issue of the peep height. So he's actually lowering his head and digging it into the string, trying to get that peep to line up with his eye in the scope. Now, in my prior Archery Vision episodes, I've actually gone over setting the peep height, having the correct anchor points, and going through this more in depth. I'll link that video here. That way you can go back and watch that one as well and get a better understanding of what's going on. But the big thing that we want to do is make sure that we're lifting our bow arm up in a natural position to where that shoulder maintains good location for us, not too outstretched and not too crammed up, and we're drawing the bow back. We don't ever want to change how we're tilting the head down or bringing the head back, or change the shoulder position once we get to full draw. We just want to bring the string over and bring it to our face. Now, if the string is too far forward and your nose is not able to get to it and you have a correct anchor point, then that means that we need to lengthen that draw length out. In the same regards, if it comes back too far and it's digging into the face or it's even to the side of your nose, then that shows us we need to shorten the draw length. So we want it to look like this. I actually did this with a set of air shaft arrows that I was using in tuning for my 23 series. For this week's tech segment, I want to talk about creep tuning, but I want to give you an alternate way to do it versus just a standard shooting at 10, 20, 30, 40 yards, whatever it may be in varying pressures when you're pulling. I want to talk to you about being able to shoot through paper and be able to creep tune at the same time. So now that we've shown the creep tuning through paper and that you can still see the tears and that correlates with the knock travel, I want to go over briefly just a common scenario that I see, especially with these hybrid cam systems, and what you can do to fix that. Very commonly with these hybrid cams, when you're creeping, you'll see that arrow hit high or you'll get a low tear through paper. What you'll need to do with that is make this top cam hit sooner than what it was previously doing. To do that, we're going to put a twist in the bus cable, and that's going to be able to help you out. So if you're not familiar with the hybrid cam system and which cable is what, the bus cable, or what some people refer to it as the power cable, is the one with 3 end loops. You're going to be looking at 2 of the end loops that come up here for the yokes. It's going to come down and cross over at the cable guard, and then it's going to come down to the bottom on the right side of this cam. So the reason that we're wanting to use the bus cable to make our adjustment here versus taking a twist out of the control cable is because you have a potential when you're taking twists out of cables to cause serving separation because you're loosening the serving going around the actual string. Now this is not going to be super common whenever you're just only doing one twist at a time, but it's something that you can avoid altogether by adding twist when you can versus taking twist away.
In this week's shooting tip segment, we're going to be looking at our release arm. I'm going to give you some points to look at in your own form, and I'm also going to give you some areas to focus on to keep you from collapsing during your shot and keep you having stronger and more consistent placements on target. So to help us keep from collapsing, we need to be expanding through our shot, and part of that means that we're pulling with our release arm, and the motion that we're going to be seeing is that release arm's elbow actually going downwards throughout that shot. So you can look between the top and the bottom photos here, and you can focus on the line that runs through my ear. You can actually see the alignment point from just starting the shot to the shot actually firing, and the drop of that elbow. So it's not severe, but it is a little bit that you're seeing. The same thing here, we can actually look at this photo and we can align it up with the background, and we can see the motion of that elbow tracking downwards as that shot is breaking. So one good way to track this is by setting a camera up behind you and putting it in line with your elbow and the target, and that way you can actually watch what's happening as the shot's breaking. Tracking that follow through and the direction of your elbow and your release arm is going to tell you a lot about what's going on. Another good angle to set up the camera from is from the side. That's going to show us a lot about what's going on, just like in the previous photos that I had that we looked through. We want to make sure that no matter what release we're shooting, that pull and the expansion is the same. So here I'm using a thumb button, but you'll still see that my elbow is rotating downwards throughout my shot execution, and through my follow through, it's following that path and continuing to go down as it wraps around behind my back. Now in this shot I actually took out my Carter Silverback release. Now this is a tension activated release, so no trigger on this. This release actually fires by continually building pressure, so that means pulling and expanding through our shot. And I put this in here because I want you to watch the follow through and see that no matter if I'm using a trigger or this release is a tension release, it's all still the same.
So I wanted to end this video by showing you some more slow motion clips. I'm actually going to be showing you the slow motion clips of my release execution with both the knock to it and the silverback, so you can see exactly what movements are going on and kind of get an idea of the motion for the follow through and the direction that my hand is going with each release. If you like these videos, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure to share it to your social media pages and subscribe if you don't already. I appreciate everybody for watching the video today. Keep an eye out next week for some more and an upcoming review over the SVX versus X3 cam on the Hoyt Prevail. Thank y'all. I'll see you soon.